Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Right now. Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready to go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the Lesbian Detectives.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here talking about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. Guys, welcome back to our little podcast. I hope you guys had a fantastic week. We kind of did a little bit. We had a busy weekend, but I got a flat tire, guys, on the side of the road. It was an experience. As we was waiting on the guy to come and fix the tire, somebody pulled up and was offered to help. And I was like nervous. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Who are you? It was like me and my mom. I took a picture of him and his license plate and sent it to my wife. I like, if in case I go missing, this is the man who did it. It was not just me, guys. It was my mom and me. But still, though, it was like, 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
I was shaking my head as soon as I got that picture. I was like, oh, here she goes.
I host a true crime podcast. And also I am sick, so if my voice do sound a little different, it's because my daughter got me sick. So I'm at the end of the cold, so hopefully I sound decent in this podcast. But we had a fantastic weekend. I wish my wife just be still, just roll up the sleeve as I'm telling the important story. But we went to Six Flags. My daughter, it was her first time, and she had a great time.
We were supposed to go to the museum, but somebody doesn't like museums.
I like certain type of museums.
You don't like no museums?
I do.
No, you don't.
I like certain type of museums. Send me some good museums that I should go check out. I should do like a museum trip every now and then. This case right here has a lot of mixed story. The family say something and the police say something and the camera say something. It's a lot of contradictions. Today's case is about a young woman, 3 months pregnant, who disappeared on an ordinary day. She had a routine appointment, planned to head to work afterwards, but she never made it. Her car was left parked near her home with her purse, her phone, and her lunch inside, as if she was intended to go to work. A neighbor's surveillance camera caught her walking past her car, but what happened next remained unclear. In the footage, she crossed the street and vanished from sight, leaving behind clues. Her sudden disappearance raised suspicions, especially when it revealed that she had been in a relationship with someone who had also had another family and another woman and children, who were also expecting a child around the same time. Shortly after the disappearance, this person, along with his family, left the area without any explanation, firing up further questions about his involvement. Despite growing doubts and the unanswered questions surrounding his sudden disappearance, law enforcement has not named him a suspect. The lack of answers left the family searching for the truth, wondering if someone close to her knew more than they were letting on. Social media buzzing with theories, with friends pointing out the absence of the man at vigils or memorials for the missing woman. His silence only deepened the mystery, and the family could not help but wonder if he knew something they didn't. As investigation continued, the truth remained inconclusive. What happened to the woman And why did she disappear so suddenly? Those who love her continue to search for the answers, but determined not to let her case fade away. This is the case of Kierra Cole. Kierra Cole, a vibrant 27-year-old African-American woman, was known to her friends and family and co-workers as someone full of life and promise. Employed as a letter carrier for the United States Postal Service in Chicago, she had been reliable and hardworking member of the community for nearly 3 years. But what truly made Kierra stand out was the joy she felt in her pregnancy, carrying the child she had longed for with her boyfriend, Josh. This was the life she had planned for, a future filled with love, a new baby, and a fresh start. Yet all that came crashing down on October the 2nd, 2018. Kierra vanished without a trace, and what should have been a joyous time in her life became a haunted mystery that remained unsolved to this day. On that fateful morning, Kierra had scheduled a prenatal appointment. She was around 3 months pregnant, and her excitement was visible. She had been talking about her upcoming life as a mother, the baby nursery, and all her dreams she had of raising her child. Her mother had even expressed how Kierra was eagerly preparing for the birth of her baby, making plans. The prenatal appointment had gone as expected. Everything seemed fine. Kierra was healthy, and the baby was growing as it should. There was no indicating that anything was wrong. She left the appointment in good spirits, only to disappear within hours. Kierra had made plans to work that day. She was employed as a letter carrier for the United States Postal Service and had been with them for several years. She had been a dedicated employee, a woman who took pride in her job. That morning, her mother last spoke with her, and Kierra had assured her that she would be heading to work. However, it was soon after that when Kierra didn't show up for work and wasn't answering her phone. The alarm bells went off in her family mind. It wasn't like her not to check in, especially considering her pregnancy. Kierra was known for her routine, always keeping in touch with her family and friends. On October the 4th, 2 days after Kierra disappears, her mother filed a missing person report. The authorities, alarmed by the sudden disappearance, immediately began their investigation. But what they uncovered left everyone with more questions than answers. Surveillance footage from a neighbor camera captured Kierra walking outside her apartment on October the 2nd, dressed in her USPS uniform. She was seen walking past her parked car, a car that still contained her purse, cell phone, and prepared lunch. Items that strongly indicate that she planned to head to work. The footage showed Kierra walking along. She appeared calm at first, but then something strange happened. In the video, she suddenly turned around and quickly crossed the street as if something, perhaps someone, had startled her. When they looked carefully, they saw a man. The two of them seemed to have some kind of interaction, and at some point later, they seemed leaving together in her car. This was the last time that anyone would see Kierra in person. However, hours later, at around 10:43 p.m., a chilling moment was captured on the surveillance footage. Kierra was seen at an ATM withdrawing cash, the last known image of her alive. Her family later learned that this was the last time they would hear from her. This was the last time she would ever be seen. Later that night, her car was found parked in an unfamiliar part of the city. Surveillance camera showed the person of interest getting out the passenger side, but no one emerged from the driver's side. Police theorized that Kierra may have been in the car at some point, but it was unclear whether she'd been forced out or if she had left on her own accord. Kierra's family, particularly her mom, believed that the woman on the surveillance footage was indeed Kierra. Kierra's car was parked near her apartment complex. Her purse, her cell phone, and her prepared lunch inside suggested that she'd been indeed going to work. The police confirmed that the car was parked in the area, but there was no sign of struggle or indicate that she'd been forced to leave the scene. It appeared Kierra just vanished without a trace, leaving behind only questions and growing sense of dread.
As the days passed, the police began to dig deep into Kierra's personal life, trying to find clues that could explain what happened. Kierra's family knew that she was in a relationship with Josh Simmons, the father of her unborn child. Josh had been in Kierra's life for several years, but things were not as simple as they appeared. Josh, like Kierra, was also employed by the USPS. Despite the fact that they had been together for 5 years, unbeknownst to Kierra, Josh was living a double life. While he had been in a relationship with Kierra, he was also involved with another woman, and they had children together. This hidden part of Josh's life would soon raise red flags as the investigation continued. When Kierra disappeared, Josh seemed to vanish from Chicago as well. Shortly after her disappearance, Josh, his friend, and their children relocated out of Illinois. This abrupt move, combined with his complicated personal life, sparked suspicion. His lack of contact with Kierra's family, his absence from any of the vigils held in her honor, and his overall silence led many to believe that he knew more about Kierra's disappearance that he was letting on. Kierra's family was especially hurt by his behavior. In an interview with NBC Chicago on January the 17th, Kierra's mother directly addressed Josh, asking, "You still haven't been questioned. If you haven't done anything, then why not?" Her words resonated with many who followed the case, and they felt that Josh's involvement, whether direct or indirect, deserved further scrutiny. Social media, as it often does, became a platform for people to voice their suspicions. Many speculated that Josh's involvement in Kierra's life, his hidden relationship, his pregnant girlfriend, and his sudden departure from the state were all clues pointing to a more complicated story. Even Josh's Facebook, which is now private, revealed that his girlfriend was pregnant at the same time Kierra was, raising more questions about his role in Kierra's life and what might have transpired. But despite all this speculation, law enforcement has not named Josh as a suspect, nor has it released any information about whether he has been questioned about Kierra's disappearance. This lack of clarity only fueled the mystery further. What happened to Kierra Coles? Was her disappearance related to Josh's secrets? Or was there another explanation? As the months pass by, Kierra's case has remained cold, with few leads or developments, yet her family refuses to give up on her. They continue to search for answers, holding on to the hope that someone, somewhere, knows what happened to Kierra. To this day, the U.S. Postal Service is offering a $25,000 reward for any information leading to the resolution of Kierra's disappearance. Additionally, a local activist has pledged an extra $1,000, while the Chicago branch of the National Association for Letter Carriers has put forward $2,500. But despite these rewards and public pleas, Kierra's fate remains a haunting mystery. Kierra Cole deserves justice. Her family deserves answers. The truth, no matter how elusive it may seem, must come to light. Until then, Kierra's disappearance will remain a painful mystery, a reminder of a young woman's life taken too soon, and a child's future left uncertain. Before we end this case, we must remember Kierra Cole for who she was, a woman full of love, hope, and promise, taken from this world too soon. Her family's pain is unimaginable, and they will not stop until they have the answers they deserve. Kierra's story is not one of just loss, but also of love and a fierce desire for justice. The search for the truth continues, and if there's any hope, Kierra will never be forgotten. Kierra Cole was a young woman full of promise and joy. At just 27 years old, she was already a dedicated letter carrier with the United States Postal Service. Known for her hard work, warmth, and infectious smile, her life was full of hope as she prepared to welcome her first child, a pregnancy that had been planned and was eagerly anticipated. Kierra was loved by her family, friends, and coworkers, and her future seemed bright. But on October the 2nd, 2018, everything changed. That morning, Kierra had a prenatal checkup, after which she was supposed to head to work. Yet by the following days, her family grew worried when they hadn't heard from her. She was the type of person who always stayed in touch. Her mother, filled with concern, contacted the authorities when she realized something wasn't right. Surveillance footage would later show Kierra walking outside her apartment, dressed in her USPS uniform, and then suddenly vanishing from view, leaving her purse, phone, and lunch in the car. That was the last time anyone saw her. The mystery surrounding her disappearance was immediate, and the questions began to mount. What happened to Kierra? Where had she gone? Who was involved? As the investigation unfolded, Kierra's family discovered painful truths that added layers of complexity to the case. Kierra's boyfriend, the father of her unborn child, was found to have another family, another woman, children, and even another pregnancy at the same time. Shortly after Kierra went missing, he and his family abruptly left the area, raising suspicion about his involvement. But despite the growing doubts, law enforcement has never named him a suspect, leaving Kierra's family in the agonizing position of not knowing the full truth. This is the case of Kierra Cole. Now let's get into some theories.
Theories.
Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Lesbian Detectives. What type of thoughts you thinking? What theories running through your mind? I'm thinking all types of suspicion. Uncover the truth, what we can find. Witness say they saw somebody creeping out the back door. What you think they did it for? That's so crazy, I'm not sure. They found a car, where could she be? Here go another puzzle piece. Researching through your history. It's plenty unsolved mysteries. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories, yeah. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Lesbian Detectives.
You or me?
Go.
So when I said in the beginning of this episode that this case have different details, the police has their version and the family has theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was looking up this case, it was like the family believed that she went missing on October the 3rd. The police said no, October the 2nd. They feel like that she did go to the
prenatal checkup,
but they don't believe that it was her in the camera footage. The police don't believe that. The family believe that she went missing on the 3rd. They believe that she was getting ready to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But the camera footage is like, no, that wasn't her. People believe that it was another lady who worked at the post office. It was really her leaving that day. But she had her lunch. She had all her stuff in there.
Right.
So they believe, like, that's the craziest part, that her stuff was in there. So if the police believe, like, hey, that wasn't her in the footage, there was somebody else that lives in the apartments, like, and I think the hardest part of this case is if we can sit down and get all the details right, we might can solve this case.
Right.
Because it's like he say, she say, they say, hearsay. And we look in this case, we all know who might have done it. It's the boyfriend. And one thing I know about the post office, let me tell you, I am a post office child. My mom is a postmaster and I was raised there. Let me see what I have learned. The post office is known to have the biggest thoughts. And let me tell you something. Not everybody, because some people are faithful, but a lot of single people, they date each other. Or a lot of married people, they cheat on their spouse. I know, and I'm not going to say no names because that's not my business, but I know a lot of them that's cheating on their spouse right now. And that's crazy. I always wondered, it seemed like she didn't know that he had a family.
She must have known that he had a family because they were obviously sneaking around.
Mm-hmm. And she was together with him for years. And she planned that pregnancy, and I hope I'm not. I don't want. It's hard because I don't want to talk negative about a victim because that's something I don't want to do. But to me, her mom said it was a planned pregnancy. If she known that he did have a family and she planned that pregnancy,
Was it like a form of entrapment?
I don't know. And like, I don't want to speak ill of the victim. Never do, never do. But that makes me think like I'm trying to be
She was
nice.
very excited for her pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I feel like it's hard if you know that your partner's not going to be there and help out. Like, to be a single mom and to know that you're going to do this by yourself, I don't think I would be very excited. Now, she was very excited. She probably had hope that maybe he was going to be in her life or maybe he was going to leave her wife. But then a lot of people will tell you what you need to hear. What if he told her, yeah, I want to leave my wife, this and that. We're not in a good space anymore. And so that's why she decided, okay, well, let's start our own family. Like, she's like, let's speed this up. So when she got pregnant, she probably believed that he was going to leave his wife and be there for them. But obviously, that's not how it worked out.
They never really leave their wife. Only time they leave their wife is when their wife leaves them. When the wife is like, hey, no, I'm not doing this no more. And that's when they go to their side piece because they're like, okay, I have nothing else. Like, I go to you. But to me, it seemed like if it wasn't her and the last day that she was seen on Earth was October the 2nd, something happened that night. I don't know for sure if she went to the appointment by herself. That's another thing we don't know. If she went by herself, he could have went. But he also had his other chick pregnant at the same exact time. What if he didn't want to get caught? He like, I don't want this baby. Of course, no, if it's a man in that moment, oh yes, let's make a baby. Of course, they love to make the baby. They don't like taking care of the baby sometimes.
They want to practice making the baby.
Right. Some of them don't want to do the work. But it seemed like he had the children. And she had to know a lot of this stuff. And it's just sad that the baby that his girl was pregnant with, that baby's alive. That baby's living their life. But Kierra and her child, a possibility is they're not here anymore.
Yeah.
I do think he probably killed her that day. I feel like out of the appointment, she probably called him excited, like, hey, blah, 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 I had the appointment today. And he probably like, oh, sounded like he was happy and try to convince her, hey, let's go meet. Let me see the pictures, all that stuff. She probably went and met him. She went to the ATM. He probably was like, hey, I need some money or something, or we need some cash for some reason. You need cash for something. They got cash. And I wonder, like in the episode, you hear that you see the person of interest get out the car, but he got the passenger side. If it really was Kierra there, they never really saw her get out that car. I wonder if they like fast forwarded to see if she get out, but it seemed like she didn't. I wonder. What if it wasn't him, it was the girlfriend?
Unless he was under the impression that she was going to get an abortion and then she's like, oh no, I'm going to keep the baby. Because some people don't really have that conversation. Like, oh, I'm pregnant, but then it's kind of like, okay, what are we going to do about it? Like, some people don't really have it right away. And her whole plan was to continue with the pregnancy. And he was probably like, no, I don't want this baby. Like, get rid of it type thing.
I wonder how much money did she pull out the ATM? Because that would tell you a lot of information of like, because what if he was trying to convince her to have the abortion? Yeah. And it was like, she got her half after, ATM. And he needed to get his half out. And I mean, that's a possibility, but it seemed like she was so excited. But also, we don't know, she probably didn't want to be a single mom.
Yeah.
But we also need to talk about another possibility, the girlfriend. What if she was the one that was dressed up as Kierra, acting like she was Kierra? Because, a man usually have a type.
I mean, that could be a possibility, but I feel like it was his mess to clean up. And that's why he kind of left the state.
But they all left the state together.
Right, because he wanted to separate the two.
Trust me.
I don't believe that she was involved.
I mean, yeah, it's a possibility. But to me, she knew that her baby daddy boyfriend was all over the news. Like, all over the news. On social media. She had to know something. Like, she, as a woman, if I know that my man might be a suspect in a murder, I'm looking at this man, and then you cheating on me. And you got the woman pregnant. And a woman is missing. I'm not going nowhere with you because I don't think I'm next.
Right.
Do you think he gonna stop cheating? He just killed his side piece. What about you? You think you not, next on the chopping block? That's not for me. No, can't. But I mean, some people don't think like me, so like.
Some people are blinded by love, which that's not love. That's toxic relationship, and he didn't love you in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
He just got caught.
I wonder how many kids did he have in all? Because he probably still got something out there. He probably still popping more kids to this day.
I mean, to me, that's the only person that is a suspect because I was also a carrier for the U.S. Postal Service. And a lot of people would always thank me for my service.
Mm-hmm.
As a community worker, a lot of people had a respect for you.
Mm-hmm.
You would go to their houses, drop off the mail, sometimes have a little small conversation, but a lot of people see that as a respected position.
Mm-hmm.
I never really feared for my life. There was just one time a dog bit me, but that's a whole different story. But even in I was delivering mail in the worst neighborhood. And even so, they try to break into the truck, but I locked it. And he even asked me oh, you locked it? I was like, yes. But I never really feared for my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it was anybody from her job. There's no other suspects that the police were able to identify. I just want to know why they ruled him out or why he never was a prime suspect.
I mean, we don't know who the prime suspect was because you see they had a prime suspect. They said was in the car with her, but they never released the name of who their prime suspect was.
Yeah.
But to me, if it really was him, when he moved away, and y'all know he moved away, why y'all didn't get y'all butt in that car and go drive where he was to go question him?
Yeah, why didn't they ever bring him in?
That's what I'm saying. With this case, it's so much it's a messed up job. I'm just gonna be honest. The police did a messed up job because I feel like as a person who looked into the case, it's like this happened and this happened and this happened. It was nothing really placed together. And I was struggling trying to work it, but I'm like, I'm gonna give her a case because we know a lot of information about the post office service. They ride for each other.
Yeah, but again, it's in Chicago. Chicago is known for having a lot of crimes, and a lot of them don't get solved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a labor thing or a budgeting issue, but that's why there's a lot of crime. A lot of crimes get committed because they don't get solved.
Mm-hmm. They don't care sometimes. But I think with her, the police was really trying to. They found footage and all of that. I just believe that the timeline they had, the family had, and the viewer had is different.
I just don't think it would have hurt if they brought him in for questioning. After all, he was allegedly, he was the father of her child. Unless he wasn't.
What do you mean by that?
Unless he wasn't the father. Unless, how he had his wife. What if she was like, okay, well, I can have somebody else. We're not exclusive. We're just, but that's another rabbit hole. I mean, it could be a possibility, but.
Yeah. I mean, during this case, you hear a lot of theories of what happened, but the main one is that it probably was him. I feel like I'm just sitting back, thinking about reading this case. October the 2nd, I think she went missing that day. You have the footage on YouTube. I was posted for you guys. You really can't tell if it's her or not. It's so the camera footage is so grainy. It's hard to see.
And this was in 2018, so GPS was available. Why aren't we not tracking his phone, her phone?
Correct.
It just seems like there's so much more that could have been done.
Well, we know her phone was still in her car, so.
Well, yeah, but.
I don't know. It's just hard.
Yeah.
I mean, our prime suspect is the baby father.
Right.
Guys, if you have any theories or any information, please let us know. I feel like we're not stuck on this one, but I wish we had more information on this one. I mean, we said in all cases, we should get like a shirt that says more information or a flag that says more information.
Yeah.
I feel like if they had more information, that would solve the case.
Right.
Well, please give us a 5-star rating and also hit that notification bell. Write a review. Tell us what you feel about our podcast. Positive vibes only. Positive vibes only. And please follow us on all our social medias and YouTube and all podcast platforms. This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And don't forget, everybody's a suspect
Until proven innocent.
Bye.
Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what the who? Man, that ain't real. These crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now. Tuning in is a must.
Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready to go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, Lesbian Detectives.